G'day guys, welcome back to the show. This is Full Power Pillock, and today what we've got is a two-way flying machine that doesn't require any form of arrows, and you also don't have to shift any blocks for it to fly back the opposite direction. This is the closest thing to what we have to the Java two-way flying machine. So let's get into it straight away, let's not waste time, and see what we're playing around with here. So, very simple build, don't need too many supplies to actually make this. And is that on fire? It is too. Well, there you go. So let's ignore the ensuing chaos in the background. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making this sort of L shape here. So then what we're going to do from there is get a sticky piston. So as you can sort of see, we've got this sort of lightning bolt sort of thing going on. Now from this side, what we're going to do is we're basically going to make an L shape, the same, just sort of mirror opposite, I guess you could say, like most flying machines are. So we want something a little bit like this, if that sort of makes sense. Not too complicated so far. So what we're going to do after that, grab some tiger blocks, chuck them in behind the pistons. Then we're going to grab some observers and we're going to face them forward and just in here. And the same on this side as well. So we've got the faces facing inwards towards the machine, and we've got this face facing inwards towards the machine. Now from here, all that we need to do is grab a piston and another piston, and that's pretty much it. So that's basically your flying machine now. You don't need to switch anything around to make it fly back the opposite direction. All you need to do is basically choose which side you power. So if you want it to go off in this direction, you need to power the back one. If you want it to go off in this direction, you need to power the back one. Same way that it works out in Java. So how does this work? Well, all that we need to do is chuck down some tridents here. So one trident and two tridents. And I'm going to choose for it to go off in this direction. So let's power the back one. And off we go. So as you can see, quite simple, quite easy to actually fly with. Doesn't require any sort of arrows like my other ones generally do. It's pretty simple actually. Does take up 7 blocks, which isn't great comparing it to something like the Java flying machine, which is only typically about 3 blocks. But at the same point, it actually does work in Bedrock, so, you know, it's a bit of a compromise, so we don't really have much other choice, I guess you could say. So it does work pretty well. So let's set up something very simple so that we can see what it's like to fire it back the opposite direction. And how shall I do it? I might use some blocks like this, so let's stop it with something like a obsidian block here. Now all I'm going to do is use an observer, and I'm just going to create something a little bit like this. In fact, I might even go up 1 block. That might be an idea. In fact, let's go out here and then have a line coming around, a line coming around, and then we'll go up there. In fact, let's go up 1 more. 1 more should be good. So we're going to do something like that, and I might need to build this down 1, but that's okay. Okay, so you get the idea of roughly what this is like. So we're just going to grab some redstone from here and chuck that down here. Now all that we need to do is give it enough delay, just so that we're not sort of working our machines too hard, that sort of thing. And now we can just fire that off. So all that we'll do with that is, what's the easiest way? Probably if I use the Trident in this case. And we'll let that fly for a little bit so that we can get that to fly a fair decent way away. And we'll give that a few moments. So as you can see, fairly simple. Flies in all different flat axes. Doesn't fly vertically though, so that's something to keep in mind. You won't be able to use for vertical travel. But as far as flying around the landscape, that sort of thing, or using it for various different machines and stuff like that, you can use it perfectly fine without any sort of issues. And I believe that's probably far enough, so let's stop it there. And we're going to do the same sort of thing, so we're just going to do an observer, then we're going to grab some blocks a little bit like this, and we're just going to go out a little bit, and on here we're just going to go out And we can do something. Oh yeah, that's right. I went out a little bit further on this one, just so that we could give it enough time to actually all reset and all that stuff. So let's do something a little bit like this, and this, and this. And we'll go around here, and around here. Okay, and we're good. So this should basically fly backwards and forward without any sort of issues, and it should do it continuously till the end of time. Much the same as what we get the Java one, so a lot simpler than what we generally have had in the past. Does use Tridents, which, yeah, they're not too bad to get in Bedrock. They're a little bit harder in 1.16 than they have been in previous versions. So probably best to keep that in mind, but otherwise I think this is pretty easy actually. It's not too bad, I will say. I still prefer the ones with arrows personally, but you know, it is what it is. So there we go. As you can see, I actually timed that pretty well perfect, so that's alright. I hope that this one worked out just about the same, and I think it should have. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I will let you guys watch out for a little bit. I might even play some music so you can get a bit of an idea of how fast this all moves and that sort of thing. But generally, yeah, I think it's a pretty good one. So, rather short video, but yeah, it's not a very complicated machine in the end. And I'll catch you guys, of course, in the next one.